This is going to be a very raw, spontaneous video. I've had this idea in the back of my head since I got this little DJI camera. I wanted to kind of rant about it on YouTube and just float my thoughts your way. The title of this video is probably going to be something like How to Conquer the World. I very much see... I don't know if you can hear my mom's just came home on the dog's greeting her. The way I see life is in little sections, or maybe not life necessarily, but problems in life. You need to break them down into little sections. So a great saying I like from one of my most important mentors is, don't look for solutions, look for frames. And I want you to apply this to anything you're facing in your life, and I'll get on to why I see things in little sections, frames. If you wanted to cross a minefield, right, there'd be no use at, so say we have two sides, right? You're here, here's like no man's land full of mines, and here's the other side where you want to get to, and this can represent your dreams or any goals or ambitions that you have or something that you're working towards. If you just stare at the other side and hope something magical happens, nothing's going to happen. You're going to stay here forever and you'll never get there, right? Whereas if you actually start looking at what's in front of you and start breaking it down into little sections, you will be able to take reasonable action, and action that is actually conducive to getting you to the other side, because you'll think, right, is there a mine here? Do I need to defuse the mine? Is there actually nothing here? Can I just walk straight through? Do I need to put my foot here? Okay, we've done one little box. Let's look at the next little section, and so on and so on. So when you actually start breaking down the little sections and start taking action that is directly conducive to where you want to get to, things will start to fall into place and you will get that momentum built up. So you could be 6 weeks into crossing this minefield and it may seem to you like you haven't got anywhere. Like you're not making any progress, you're not getting any further. But whereas the person who's still at the start, not taking action, is looking at you like, oh shit, he's 600 yards ahead of me. He's actually took action, and while he's not there yet, he's actually moving forward. He's actually getting closer to the goal, whereas I'm just sitting here, standing, thinking about the other side, knowing, oh, I want to get there, but not actually doing anything, right? So that's what I mean by looking at things through frames, right? Don't look at the solution, don't look for a solution, look for the frames. And you need to realize that if this is the way it is, or if this is what's required to get to where you want to get to, you need to realize that this is a universally applicable concept. So have a vision of exactly who you want to be, what you want to look like, what you want to dress like, what you want to smell like, what way you want your physique to look, what line of work you want to be in, how other people may perceive you in a good way. And we say, oh, we don't care about what other people think. Yes, that is true, but I personally care. If I care about someone, I care about what they think of me. If I don't care about someone, that might sound harsh, but if it's a person that holds no value or brings or adds no value to my life, I don't care what they think, because their perception of me isn't what I truly know I am, right? I digress. I've actually lost where I was, but I'll get straight back into my point, right? If you want to achieve something great, the thing that is great is a direct accumulation of all little smaller things that people might not see, things that people probably don't see, things that you don't want to do, but it's these little daily monotonous tasks that make a difference. If you think about it, the strongest structure or material you can think of is made up of tiny little atoms that hold the big structure together, right? You won't get anywhere with a house built on sand. Because as soon as there's a little bit of challenge, as soon as there's a little bit of rough weather, you'll be swept away. Whereas if you have that foundation that's laid in stone, laid in concrete, whatever, I'm not an architect, you'll stand firm. And when the storms come, and when there's little challenges, little bits of erosion chipping away at you, you have more moral, material, character, whatever way you want to look at it, to remain firm. And this doesn't have to be reciting rituals or being able to spend 20 minutes in cold water or run 100k. It doesn't need to be that mental or physical fortitude. It's the small things. So you need to realize that all these little things matter. Getting your hair cut every week, keeping your room clean, tidying the dish up as soon as you're done with it instead of leaving it there, keeping your clothes, shoes clean, holding the door open for people, being polite, eye contact, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone by 0.1% every single day, pushing that little bit harder every single day. And it doesn't need to be something major, it just needs to be a little bit harder than what it was yesterday. So, for example, I'm a PT in a commercial gym. If you're not familiar with commercial gym models or how it works, yes, you get a little bit of word of mouth, and sometimes clients will bring clients to you, or you might get lucky and somebody might approach you. But most of the time, you need to go up. It's like a social rejection challenge. You need to go up and just speak to as many people as you can. Someone might sign up to your coaching in 4 months' time. Someone might sign up to your coaching in a year's time. Somebody might sign up straight away. Somebody might sign up next week. But the point is, you will get clients from just having conversations and just being a human and showing that you're likable, right? Because most of the time in PT, and people just end up actually paying for the hour with yourself because they enjoy the company and the way that you make them feel. But it's hard. It is hard when you're in a busy gym and people are looking at you because they know what you're doing, and just approaching someone and being like, "Oh, hi there. Where'd you get your shoes?" Random conversation starters, or how's it going? It is hard to do. So pushing yourself to have one more conversation or start a conversation in a more difficult spot than you usually would. That would be an example I'd use for yourself. It could be pushing yourself that little bit harder in the gym. Maybe it's approaching a girl. Maybe it's doing something you really don't want to do, but is directly conducive to, again, where you want to get to. So creating, another example for myself, creating an email list, so monotonous, very alien to me, but pushing yourself, doing something you really don't want to do. And if you're watching, my mates Max and Reese have a great point they make, that people glorify this come up lifestyle or like entrepreneur lifestyle or whatever. But the point they make is that a lot of the time, some of the best work you'll ever get done is literally just sitting at a desk or sitting at wherever, sitting in a coffee shop and doing the boring stuff on your laptop. So writing out plans, creating content scripts, admin, whatever it may be, the more boring side of things, because there are things in coaching that are fun, right? Seeing your clients progress, checking in, solving problems, they're all things I personally enjoy. Because I personally am in the business of helping people, and it is a human-centered business, human-centered industry. So when we get that good response out of people, again, a lot of the time when they've done the very thing I've talked about in this video and just added up those little daily nuggets, and they've seen a massive change. Because consistency, you never see it in the moment, right? You stand on the other side of that minefield, or you're in the mud, literally in the mud in that moment, looking around you like, I have so far to go. like, yeah, I've you know, you could say I've come quite far, but I've still so far to go. But you need to realize that all those little centimeters you move forward add up to meters, and those meters add up to kilometers, right? And eventually you will get to where you'll get to where you want to go. But my intention is not to conquer the world, right? My intention is to make an impact on, well, on a personal level, my family and my hometown. That's that's the biggest win for me. Positive impact and actual change there. Anything more than that would be a bonus, while maintaining the values that are important to me, and trying to maintain that little daily doses of integrity. But yeah, you don't need to you don't need to conquer the world. You just need to conquer the moment. You need to choose the more difficult option, even when the lazy thing or the easier option, are a milliseconds or a second more of comfort away. Just choose the hard thing. And when I say conquer the world, I mean more conquer yourself, conquer or microdose the harder decision and go after what it is you really want your vision on. I don't know, I just think we're in a day and age where anything's possible, really. You just gotta keep putting yourself out there, and it sounds cliche, but it's true. Anyway, rant over. If you want more videos like this, let me know. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.